Only the lonely know the way I feel tonight. Know this feeling ain't right.
There's a very plain-spoken idea there, and the way I saw it, without getting into it because we can't, is basically it's the like a Western philosophy version of reincarnation. Not in what people think it is, like, oh, I'm gonna die and become a fucking squirrel. No, like what reincarnation is, like if you look at it in terms of Buddhism or Hinduism, it's essentially if you fuck up in life, then you have to come back and live it over again, and live it over again, and live it over again, and live it over again. And you only ever get out of that loop when you finally do the perfect thing, when you do everything right, kind of like in Groundhog's Day, then you can go to nirvana. You can escape. You can go to quote heaven. Like, you know, you can find your paradise. You never have to put on your suit and tie again. You finally did it. Okay, you got it right. Like, that's kind of what drives Buddhists. That's their idea of the afterlife. Like, there literally is no heaven or hell. You are just reincarnated. And this film has essentially the same exact idea at play when you get into it, which I guess is a spoiler, but not really, because
I didn't exactly see that. It's just it.
How don't you see that? We're just gonna. You can cut this out. How don't you see that? Rooney Mara literally tells him, the first time you didn't even get off the boat. You always come back. You always meet me, and you get this little.
Yeah, again, that's one of those little things where I just feel like it's added in there, and it can pretend it's clever, but then it doesn't add up for anything meaningful at all.
It 100% adds up. When he's a kid, he was at the beach and he died for a minute, and he's always that was bullshit.
Yeah,
what that actually is.
And here's the thing: like when it's in the script, it's all this stuff that's being forced in there to be an important plot point. Like,
no, it's a bullshit plot
aesthetics,
point. The only reason that plot point exists is because her son Oliver died on that beach, and so he remembers the beach because he knows that he died on that beach, and also that Rooney Mara died on that beach.
See, that's the thing. This gets way too fucking convoluted.
No, I watched the final 15 minutes twice. The first time I got it. The second time
you
I
watched
watched
twice?
it. Yeah, I watched the movie, and then I rewound the last 15 minutes to make sure I understood it, and I understood it. What's wrong with that? It's called Netflix. That's part of the game.
All right, fair enough.
In the same way that I watched all the credits, and there's a closing credit sequence that you didn't see because you don't watch the credits.
No, I did, actually. The thing with the guitar. What the fuck is the point of that?
There's no point. It's just a little touch.
Exactly.
It's the same touch
like
as
most of the shit in this movie.
Why
it's
is
like,
Mary
why not throw it in there?
Why is Mary Steenburgen in this film when that's the director's mom? That's kind of like a
that is not a criticism. I'm not criticizing the casting. I'm criticizing the point of this movie, which is fucking non-existent to me, or it's just badly presented.
No, I saw a metaphysical journey of what it would be like to live in a time on this planet when we have proof of another existence past our current one.
I saw hipster trash.
Like, there is no answer. If there were an answer, then it would get a ton of fucking criticism, because it'd be like, what kind of person are you that you're shitting on God, that you're shitting on Christian ideology and the ideologies of the world? You have to make up your own thing instead of making a religion. It's like, okay, you got Robert Redford, he's the head of some cult, except they don't call it a cult, and it's really not a cult. They just have some rules, but the rules are, if you don't play by our rules, you don't get to know the answers. Except no one has answers. There are no answers.
It's such an intriguing premise that it's just like, it's unfortunately just kind of digging its own grave when it's doing it, because the question is an interesting one, but then when you explore it, what is there to say, really?
You don't need an answer. If the film had an answer, it would be a bad film.
It doesn't explore it in any way, though. It has a hook, but it doesn't explore it in a meaningful way.
They take a literal person who has died, they look into his brain, see this other parallel universe, and they do that 3 times, mind you. And the one time that they do it, they have a recording of it. They do an investigation like they're detectives. They have a long thing where they get answers. They take those answers,
that stuff is cool,
and those answers are relayed not only to the cult, but then also through Jason Segel directly to you as an audience member, and you get a little code at the end where you see, oh, what would it be like in, as I said, if you escaped reincarnation, if you finally found nirvana, and he gets it. He finds happiness. You get like this moment, the final image of the film is him about to say something, and you don't know what he's going to say, but it's implied based on conversation that happened in those final 15-20 minutes that he remembered her still, that he knows her name, that he's going to say Isla, and that's going to be the final thing of the film. Except if you do that, then it's a happy ending, then it's cheesy. I like that there are no answers in this film. The idea of there being answers, like I said, would make it shit. And it's not shit. I generally don't like films that end like this or are like this for the reason that you don't like it right now, because you perceive it as being trash or just art for art's sake, or like full of ideas but without any proof.
Yeah, it doesn't give you anything to chew on. It pretends.
What are you talking?
It's like
in every person's life, at least once. I would say for about a whole year of your life, generally speaking, around when you're 14 or so, you question not only your life, but what it means and what it means to be alive and what would happen if you were dead. And you start thinking about your death, and you start getting depressed and maybe thinking about suicide when you're in high school. Like, all of those things hit a boiling point, and this film, if it gave answers, would be a piece of shit, like, Christian film. This would be Waiting for Superman or something. Like this, it would be garbage. Instead of giving you answers,
what you're saying
you
is
get
that
a journey.
This is a meaningful look into depression?
No, it's not a meaningful look,
sense,
but
that's the thing.
It's an interesting journey through the world, through a world where people are finally figuring out the answers to things that you're never supposed to have answers to, and what it means to finally find them. I really enjoyed the journey that Jason Segel goes on. It's like, you know, what's one of the lines in the movies? It's like, there are no beginnings and ends in life. There's just a long middle. And that's true. Like, you don't remember when you die. You don't remember when you're born. And every day is the last. They kind of blend into each other. We've been doing the show for like 2 years, and I feel like I'm the same place in life, essentially, from when we began to where we are now. I haven't evolved, really. Like, I don't have more answers to life. No one has the answers. Like, looking at Robert...
I cannot share that experience, because based on where this began, I have been through so much.
I'm not saying where you've been. I'm talking about
not just where, but like where my
you think you're a different person?
Place in life. In so many ways, yes. Like I don't even know where to start covering that, but yes, a lot has changed for me.
Nothing's changed for me.
I can't share that then.
Like I don't do all the things that I did back then. Like, maybe I've matured or something, but my day-to-day beliefs are the same. Like I don't. Generally, I mean, I really can't say either, because there is no begin, there is no end. Like, it's just a long middle. Like, yesterday could have been completely different. I got no way of looking at that outside of like reading a diary or something. Even when I do read diary entries from back then, or go back on social media and read some of those, some of the tweets or some of the Facebook posts, who I can't really remember what mind state I was in. Like, when I think back to high school, I don't think much has changed since then. Like, I'm just the same person. People either like me or they don't like me, and I have certain things about me. I have tics and mannerisms, and I speak a certain way. I voice my opinions a certain way, and it's just like, none of it matters. It's not going to matter until you're dead, because when you're dead, it doesn't matter anymore. I mean, I still believe that, and this film anyway, just, it kind of amplifies that idea that there's no answers. There's never going to be answers.
I mean, I just don't need a movie to tell me that. You know, it's a really ballsy question to ask at the beginning, and then to just really, it's not so much that it gives you nothing at the end, but just doesn't give me a journey that I really felt was meaningful in any way.
The journey in this film is about
I was never bored.
Jason
I will say
Segel,
that.
Jesse Plemons, and Robert Redford's family, and what it means to be part of a group like that when you are basically responsible for 4 million plus people committing suicide, and why they would even begin that journey.
And how does the ending tie into that? I do not know. I really don't have an answer for that, or an understanding for that.
I mean, you get several scenes through both Robert Redford's time in the machine, Jason Segel's time in the machine, just little moments between all of the family members. Like, I got answers. I don't. Maybe this film's not for you, but I really enjoyed it. Like, I agree. Like, it raises really interesting questions that you don't get answers to. But like I said, can't give answers to those questions. If the film tried to, then people would like begin a cult around this film. It would become a cult film, not in the way that the film.
I don't want a definitive answer, but I wanted at least some sort of conclusion that.
I got a conclusion.
I mean, this just felt like it was pulled out of its ass in the last 5 minutes, and it really just didn't do anything for me at the end of it. Like, I just it faded out, and I was just like, all right, that's it. Well, it's not even that good of a mind bender. It's like, what is it trying to do? Is it trying to be a mind fuck on me? Is it trying to, or is it just pretending to be super meaningful? I mean, it really, I still am not even quite sure like what it is that, based on everything I saw, how this is all supposed to collide and become one thing, because it's just, you start out with this big premise that concerns the whole of humanity. Your entire idea is just based around that, and then it ends like that, like by basically saying that the first thing that it started out with, that main idea, it ended up being bullshit the whole time. Like,
it doesn't say that.
It's a total fake. That's pretty much what it is.
No, it doesn't say that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not going to put this in there, but you call it the afterlife, and that it ends up being about a fucking loop. It's not about that at all. It's like, I mean,
it is about the afterlife.
It's bullshit.
They proved,
really.
They discovered that after this current life, that there is another life. There is another wave in which matter transcends or descends, whatever way you want to look at it.
I failed to buy into it. It did not convince me that any of this was real or made sense within the context of the film.
Several situations where they prove that discovery is possible, that it did happen. It's just, the thing is that it isn't heaven or hell. It isn't another chance to make things right. If you get the Jason Segel situation where you literally, he got it right the time before he went in the machine. He saved this girl for the first time, or whatever. You get that line where she tells him like, "Oh, the first time you came, when you didn't get off the boat, you found out when you got back that some girl named Isla drowned herself on the island, and so you always go back trying to do it. Oh, I don't usually carry this, but I got these vertigo pills. We had a bunk bed. Like, oh, let's do this. Oh, well, this is the beach. I have a connection to this beach, and you were there. Like his purpose in life to transcend the shitty existence that he lived was to save her, and he did save her. Like, you get that touching moment, even if she does ultimately die, we all die. And like I've read things like this. I've seen movies like this. It's not on itself. I'm looking at one in front of me that I'm going to share during the Goodwill segment of this episode. The 5 People You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom. Similar to this fucking movie. Like, the idea that there are 5 people in your lifetime that are pivotal to your existence, and when you go to heaven, those are the 5 people that help you understand that you have to let go and you're no longer alive.
I think you saw way more into this than I did.
No, I just saw it. Like, I didn't think about it. Like, you're thinking about it. You're going.
I'm thinking about it afterwards.
You're going.
I'm just kind of like, what's the freaking point?
What's the answer? What's the point? Is there an afterlife? Is there not? Like,
no, not those answers. What's the artistic point? What's the main theme? What are you trying to communicate? What do you want me to chew on? What impact is this supposed to have on me for experiencing it? And it's just like, there's nothing. It's like, no, you're pretending that you're so fucking smart by having these ideas, and then you don't do shit with them. That's what I feel like. It's just like Another Earth, where it's just like, oh, like, I mean, I don't know if you saw that, but the final shot of that movie is the ultimate fuck you, which really doesn't, it stops at a point where it's supposed to really make you think, but it doesn't, because it's bullshit.
When I get fucked by movies, I don't like it, and I wasn't this time. I really enjoyed the journey. I enjoyed not necessarily the discovery, but where they went with it. The idea that the fucking Twilight Zone. No episode of the Twilight Zone has answers, generally speaking. You have this
but
gateway.
They at least have a closing voiceover that tells you the point.
Yeah, because it's an anthology TV show that's geared towards a mainstream audience. Of course it has a voiceover. It opens with a theme song. It's been adapted into a movie at least once, Like, it's a different form of entertainment, but at the same time, it's a entryway into something that is beyond our earthly realm, where things are possible that shouldn't be. And it doesn't always have to have some message about, oh, you're a bigot, or trust this. Like, what's the point of the Talking Tina episode? Oh, a doll can fucking talk. Like, not every episode has a takeaway. The Nightmare at 10,000 feet. What's the takeaway from that one? That there's a fucking goblin on the wing of a plane? Nick of Time is my favorite episode of William Shatner. There's a great one there. Never try to know the future because it doesn't fucking matter. Just live your life. Don't be supernatural. The better episodes of The Twilight Zone do have these takeaways, but the ones that people remember, no, they don't. Like, you don't need any philosophical wanderings. You need a piece of entertainment that is beyond something, like, beyond the genre that we're accustomed to.
At the very least, Twilight Zone always had a moral at the end of it.
No, I'm saying there isn't always a fucking moral. Like, literally, the two examples I gave about Talking Tina and Nightmare at 10,000 Feet, there is no fucking moral. The moral...
Well, I have not seen every Twilight Zone episode.
You've seen the movie, right? You've seen the John
ago,
Lithgow
yeah.
section of the movie where he's on a plane and there's a fucking beast, a demon, a gargoyle or whatever on the plane, the wing of the plane. He's freaking out.
I barely remember it, to be honest
The
with
William Shatner episode, there is no moral in that episode or that adaptation. It is. Like, it's a piece of entertainment. It's like, what's the moral for the bridging story with Dan Aykroyd where he's the cab driver?
See, that's insulting if you have a very deep question at the beginning and you just want to make it a piece of entertainment where you don't care about giving someone something to chew on. Like, there's...
I chewed on it. I rewound the movie. I watched the final 15 minutes again.
You told me you watched it and then you just took it for as is. Now you're telling me that you chewed on it and you rewatched it?
I obviously chewed on it. I watched it last night. I got answers for the questions that you got, and you're saying that my answers mean bullshit and that the movie's stupid.
It rung to me as stupid, and I cannot find much meaning into this. Like, I'm just saying my experience here. I mean, like, I can appreciate that you at least saw something in here, but like, my experience with this was, what the fuck, this is bullshit.
You don't believe the idea that, not about the afterlife, but everyone has some kind of regret in their life. Where we have some situation where we
out of its
fucked
ass
up.
at the last minute. That's my issue. It didn't get there organically. It just pulled up this thing of parallel timelines and then personal moments where you fuck up. This is in the last 5 minutes of the movie.
15.
And it's just like, no, it didn't build up to that. Even if it has these subtle little hints, it didn't build up to that at all.
I mean, they're all enjoying the ride. It didn't need to build up to it.
Until
Rooney Mara dies. Why the fuck would you have to have any answers? Like, as far as Jason Segel's concerned, up until that point.
Speaking of which, fucking out of nowhere, like,
that's not out of nowhere. They bring that idea like in the very beginning of the film. Someone, I can't remember who it was, I think it's Rooney Mara, on the ferry goes, all these people, all these 4 million people have committed suicide because they want to take themselves to that better place. How long is it going to be until someone kills someone else and they use the excuse, oh, I was helping them get there? And literally, Riley Coe says that same exact thing. I took her there. I didn't do anything wrong. It's not out of nowhere. It's a good idea. 4 million people on the planet believe in this afterlife. Why wouldn't there be mass murderers out there helping other people get into the afterlife? Essentially pulling the plug on someone. Oh, you're quadriplegic? What the point of you living anymore? Let me kill you. Let me take you to heaven. People would do that. People already do that.
Honestly,
look at jihads. That's the point. That's the idea.
I mean, honestly, like, my issue was just that, like, out of nowhere, she just pulls out a gun, and it's like, really,
out of nowhere. This is a girl that tried to kill herself in the woods.
It felt like a dramatic
by pointing
beat for the sake of increasing drama, and I was not invested in anything at that point. I was not invested in Rooney Mara or Jason Segel, and it felt like, oh, this is the high point where, of course, something bad's gonna happen.
Her story
and I was just kind of like,
literally all of her family killed themselves. They didn't invite her, and then Robert Redford found her in the woods, pointing a rifle at her stomach. And he has that conversation. Who the fuck does that? That's so weird. Who would try to kill themselves that way? You don't think that girl would find a gun? That she had a gun? This is a camp of fucking weirdos, suicidal weirdos, that are wearing jumpsuits. Because they want to know what the secrets of the afterlife is. It's a weird setup. It's a weird movie. But I'm okay.
It's pretty messy.
I'm okay with it being messy. Life is messy.
I understand that you are. I'm just saying that's my issue with it. It's messy, and it felt pointless at the end. It didn't wrap up in a way that really gave me anything to chew on.
I've seen far worse movies that are a lot tighter. This had a lot of room to breathe. I enjoyed the scenery and the way things looked. I liked how not everything was perfect. I liked that Rooney Mara has really ugly roots showing because she doesn't have naturally blonde hair. Fucking the clothes. I like the jumpsuits. I thought they were interesting taste, like just choice. I like that the film begins with making the director's mom like sit through someone killing themselves on camera. Like that's something mean to make your literal mom sit through. And like, was she paid? Did she do it for free? Did she even have a salary for this film, or was it just a thank you?
Hey, it's someone getting cast in the movie. I did not read that
No,
much
your
into
mom does not just land in the film that you wrote and direct. That does not happen.
that. Really, for an indie movie like this, you don't go, "Hey, mom, why don't we work on something? Can you come on this movie for a day?" I
That's
think
what
you'd
I'm
be
saying.
Really good for this part.
It happened. He asked her, and the thing that he made her sit through was someone killing themselves right in front of her, even if it's on camera, even if it's
They're
fake.
actors, man. They know how to play. They can handle it.
I'm saying it's your
shit,
mom.
what else has she been in?
Let me ask you, Steve. If you're making a movie, you're writing and directing a movie, and you ask your mom, who is an Academy Award-winning actress, who's very well known, and you go, "Hey, you want to be in my movie?" "Oh yeah, sure, son. What am I doing?" I'm just gonna kill someone in front of you." "Yeah, why not? I'll do it for free." Like, no.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you kidding me? Because you would be professional at that point, and you would be doing what you could to serve the narrative, whatever that narrative might be.
I'm saying it's a fucked up thing to do as a son to your mother.
I don't think so.
Especially when you're probably not paying your
When
mom.
you're playing pretend and everyone knows what's going on, then no, that's not fucked up at all.
Have you ever cast your parents in any of your movies?
No, I haven't.
Okay, imagine you got a big budget and you're sending it to Sundance. You just made something kind of big. You know it's going to be about the afterlife. Would you, especially if your mom is an actress, kill someone in front of her?
Yes, why wouldn't I?
You've never even put your mom in a movie before.
Yeah.
Why would you? You're just going to do it all out of nowhere?
If you're just saying it hypothetically in this situation that my mom is an actress, so yes, I would assume that she's skilled enough to react appropriately and that she would be professional enough to understand, hey, we're telling a story here, we're playing pretend. It's that simple.
It's not that simple.
It's very simple.
It's casting your mom in a movie about the afterlife and killing someone in
I
front
think
of
you're
them.
reading something different into this that I really am not seeing at all here.
I'm saying in the act of even doing something that
It's
like
a
ballsy.
movie. It's playing pretend. When you're on set, you have to create an environment. Everyone's on the same page. Good
Yeah,
God,
but-
I would have a conversation on this and be like, hey, are you cool? I mean, if my mom was fucking Meryl Streep, then I'm sure she's been on enough death scenes that she'd be able to handle it. In
I'm
fact,
not
I'd be
saying she
more
can't
worried that my
handle
mom
it.
would be judging how I would direct the scene and if I pulled it off well enough. That's what I would be worried about.
That what
Because I
I'm
feel like I would
asking
be
you
judged in that.
is not how good of an actress is your mom. Does she understand the way Hollywood works? Does she know that it's pretend? Is she an accomplished actress?
Yeah,
Does she
you used
is she going to do it for
hypothetically
free?
saying my
I'm
mom's
saying
an actress, you know? Like
I'm
how,
saying
what?
are you enough of an asshole of a son to put your own mother in the beginning of a film that sets up the rest of the story
Lord, it's
and
just
you would kill
filmmaking.
someone?
It's
not
just
just
filmmaking.
filmmaking.
Yeah, you would take that so personally, man. It's like, no, it's just you're shooting a scene and you're telling a story. That's it.
When you're someone's son, you don't think of them as the famous actress. You think of them as your mother. And if a director here, the first time writing and directing his own feature-length film, an artsy thing, mind you, is willing to subject his mother to that kind of thing when you're raising the questions as both an audience member and as an artist about what's going on in life
I
and better
cannot
yet the
believe
next
I'm
life.
having this conversation, man. It's such a
I can't
not
believe we're
issue.
having the whole conversation.
Yeah, I mean, first off, for that scene, it's such a non-issue. They're all professionals. You're in a professional environment. That's what the story calls for.
There
It's
is
not
no
like there's no
professionalism when it
justification
comes
in
to
doing
your
that.
parents,
So
man.
dude,
I would never cast my family in something. Probably ever. And the reason I wouldn't do that is because there is no professionalism when it's your family. There's certain like sacred
okay, but
binds.
this is a family that's in the industry, okay? So I mean, that's something.
Where's
that,
Malcolm McDowell then? Why isn't he in this film?
I don't know. Jeez, like, why do I have to answer that? I'm not in the family.
It's a weird
It's
movie.
up to them, man. Jeez,
The,
like they're.
the initial idea is what I'm saying is when you put your mom right away in this bloody sequence.
A fucked up scenario would be casting your dad and your mom in the same scene where your dad shoots your mom. That would be a fucked up thing.
Yeah, that's far more fucked up.
Yeah, that's
but
far
even
more fucked
still,
up. This is nothing.
having your mom on set for 5 seconds and the only thing you make her do is get blood splattered on her. It's fucked up. The whole film is fucked up. Just the idea is at play here. Like, there's not gonna be a nice ending. It's not gonna give you the answers. The dots that I'm trying to connect here is when the filmmaker initially decides to do that own thing with his own family, it's not going to be the kind of film you're expecting it to be. It was exactly what I expected to be. Right away when I saw his mom subjected to that kind of shit, I knew that I was going to be thinking about things. I liked what it made me think about. But at no point did I think that it was going to give me the answers to anything. I'm happy with the answers that it found within itself, but I'm not going to take those with me.
Only